Yeah, hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss the most important topic for the GAT-B, that is the amino acids as well as the protein. So in this particular series of lectures, friends, we are going to talk about amino acids and proteins in a detailed way in 3 to 4 sessions. Okay, so let's try to understand. So friends, I want to tell you one more important thing. From the 21st July onwards, another batch is going to be start for this particular IIT Jam Biotechnology. Okay, and at the same time in the free sessions, the ACE series of biochemistry is going to start by Debashish Cursor. Okay, and these are all the list of GAT-B test which is going to be held by 24th July. Right. So friends, at the same time, these are all the list of different type of crack jam topics, and these are all the list of the just topics, right? Yes. So friends, let's try to understand this particular amino acids. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so friends, let's try to understand very briefly and elaboratively about the proteins as well as the amino acids. Friends, listen to me carefully. If we want to understand very briefly and elaboratively about the proteins, it's must and should, first of all, we have to read very briefly about the amino acids. Why, friends? Amino acids, see, we use it to say that proteins are the fundamental workers of the body. I mean to say that, friends, we use it to read that whatever the function performed by the living cell, whatever the function performed by the living cell is under the control of a protein. In a single line, friends, whatever 37.2 trillion cells present in the body, every function performed by the cell is under the control of protein. Best example, listen to me very carefully, friends. You taken a blood. What's the function of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is a protein which continuously carry the oxygen to the various tissues of the body. So we know very well, without oxygen none of the cellular function cannot be continued. And friends, who is going to transport that particular oxygen? Of course, hemoglobin is going to be transport that oxygen. And friends, what is hemoglobin? Of course, hemoglobin is a chemically a protein in nature. And what is the function of our brain and nerves? Brain is the one which can control and coordinate entire functions of the body. And friends, how does the particular brain controls and coordinate? With the help of a nerve impulse. So we know that there are two important potentials are there, that is the resting membrane potential as well as the action potential. Now if this particular resting membrane potential and action potential wants to carried by the brain and as well as the nerves, what they require, this entire potential is exclusively based on exchange of the ions, especially the most important ions, my friends, like sodium ion as well as the potassium ion. And the point what you have to remember here is that how does this particular sodium and potassium is basically going to transport across the nerve plasma membrane? Friends, of course it is going to be transported exclusively by the ion channels. So on the plasma membrane of the neuron there are abundant amount of ion channels are there, that ion channels are involved in the transport of ions. What are those ion channels? Of course friends, they are chemically protein in nature, do not forget that. And can you imagine our body reactions without enzymes? Is it possible? No, it's never ever possible. You cannot imagine any body reactions without enzymes. Starting from absorption, digestion, metabolism, excretion, each and everything is depends on what? Enzymes. That's why enzymes are said to be biological catalyst, which can catalyze each and every chemical reaction that is taking place inside the body. And my friends, what's the speciality of these enzymes? Of course, enzymes are chemically protein in nature. Do not forget that particular point. Suppose example, whenever antigens enter in our body, how our body is trying to protect us, friends. Our body is trying to protect us with the help of releasing antibodies. Friends, what are antibodies chemically? Of course, friends, antibodies are also chemically, they are glycoprotein in nature. In a simple way, they are also proteins in nature. And friends, if a cell wants to do particular function, obviously what does it require? It requires signaling molecules, it requires several communication molecules like a CAM molecules. What are this particular most of the signaling molecule and most of the communicating molecule which are involved in the cellular messenger, which are involved in the cellular communication and cellular signaling? Friends, they are also protein in nature. Suppose example, if you want to understand the muscle movement, if the muscle wants to move, if the muscle want to show the sliding mechanism, compulsory what they require, friends? Of course they compulsory require actin and they compulsory require myosin. What are all these basically? Of course, friends, they are also protein in nature. And if you look into the hair and nails, this is also a very important point, friends. See, our hair, nails basically contains what? Collagen, keratin. And if you look into the our tendons, ligaments, bones, joints, arteries, they are all basically contains what, friends? Collagen. Collagen is what kind of a protein? Collagen is a structural protein which is abundantly present in the animal body. Very important structural protein which can give the structural support to various tissues in the body. And what is that particular collagen, friends? Of course, it is also chemically protein. So what I would like to say here, whatever the function performed by 37.2 trillion cells present in our body, they basically under the control of protein only. Try to understand this particular point, friends. Okay, so even though we are having n number of proteins, we are having many number of proteins in our body, friends, all the proteins are basically made up of 20 amino acid. Now you will get one doubt, so you can ask me a question, sir, in the nature there are more than 300 amino acids are there, then why we are using only 20 amino acid to synthesize the protein? So the reason behind that, friends, only 20 amino acids can be coded by our gene. So 20 amino acids majorly coded by our gene, that's why the 20 amino acids are translated into proteins during the process of translation in both prokaryotes also as well as the eukaryotic also. Suppose example, friends, you look into this insect and this particular insect possessing a property. What is we call this particular property? We call it this as a chemiluminescence, means giving a light. So how it is showing this particular chemiluminescence, friends? Of course with the help of a protein only, no doubt in that. And if you look into this red blood cells, red blood specialty is what, friends? It contain hemoglobin, correct na? Basically it contains the hemoglobin. Because of the hemoglobin only red blood cells are red in color, right? So hemoglobin chemically is also what? Protein. And if you look into this horns, they are also basically made up of what? Structural proteins only. So friends, these all proteins are exclusively made up of the fundamental units or the building blocks of the protein. What are those, my friends? Of course, amino acids. Please kindly do not forget that. And friends, listen to me carefully. Amino acids are the small organic molecules that they play several important role in the living organisms. Okay, just listen to me very carefully, friends. As I said, they can act as a building blocks for the protein and they can do several functions. Suppose example, friends, certain amino acid, listen to me carefully, friends, certain amino acids can act like a neurotransmitter in nature. Example, dopamine, serotonin, GABA, epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, 5-HT. There are n number of amino acids are there which can possess the activity of the neurotransmitter. Do not forget that. And friends, certain amino acid can act as a local mediator. that allergy mediator histamine. We know, right? Histamine is present in the mast cell, which can play a key role in the immediate hypersensitivity as well as the inflammation. And my friends, from where this histamine is going to be derived basically? Of course, undoubtedly, the histamine is going to derive from the histidine. Never forget that. Next one, energy related metabolites. What are those? Creatine, citrulline, carnitine. We read in the biochemistry carnitine shuttle system. They are also basically derived from what? Amino acids only. Even oxygen binding molecule, heme, DNA bases called purines. If you look into the skeletal structure of a purine, so not only purine, pyrimidine also. We know, right? Purines are the bicyclic ring, as well as pyrimidines or the monocyclic ring. So this bicyclic and monocyclic rings are exclusively derived from what, my friends? Of course, they are derived from the amino acids only. So friends, amino acids can perform numerous functions. What, friends? They can perform the numerous function. So they can act as a regulators of the gene expression. They will be involved in the process of cellular signaling. They are required for cell growth, maintenance, reproduction, and n number of processes, right? And friends, this is an important chart. I want every one of you to read and remember this particular chart without fail. And that's very easy to remember also. In this particular chart, there is a list of amino acids which basically act as a derivatives as neurotransmitters. Look into this. Dopamine. What is the specialty of the dopamine? Norepinephrine, epinephrine, thyramine, octapamines, synephrine, 3-methoxytrimine, phenylethylamine, and N-methylphenylethylamine. They are all, friends, please kindly remember, from the derived from the phenylalanine or from the tyrosine. But friends, they basically are exclusively derived majorly from the phenylalanine only. Please kindly don't forget that. And apart from this, I want you people to remember histamine. Anyway, you can easily remember histamine derived from the histidine, agmatine derived from the arginine, melatonin is basically derived from, my friends, tryptophan. Please kindly don't forget that. Okay, so before trying to understand the structure and functions of an amino acid, first of all, friends, we have to understand generalized structure. We have to understand the most important and generalized structure of an amino acid. If you exactly look into the structure of amino acid, it contains carbon. What do we call this particular carbon? We can call central alpha carbon. Now this central alpha carbon on the right side, it is what group it is having? It is having a carboxyl group. We can call central alpha carboxyl group. Since this carboxyl group is associated with the alpha, that's why we can call alpha carboxyl group. And this particular carbon associated with the amine group, the amine group is associated with the central carbon, that's why we can call alpha amino group. And it is having hydrogen, then friends, followed by the R group. Just keep it in your mind. Now listen to me very carefully. All the amino acids basically contain carboxyl group as well as the amino group, no doubt in that. But how does one amino acid can be differ from the another amino acid, friends? One amino acid can be differentiated from other amino acid exclusively, what, my friends? Exclusively based on the R chain. Do not forget that. As I said to all of you, there are roughly 300 types of amino acids are there in the nature. But what did I tell you, friends? Out of 300 amino acid, only 20 of which can be served as a building blocks of the protein. Do not forget that, friends. And what are the other functions? They also function as metabolites. They function as messengers. They function as regulators of that particular biological processes. Do not forget that. And friends, what is the 21st amino acid? We used to read the most important one. 21st amino acid is what? Selenocysteine. So actually the selenocysteine can be formed by the modification of the cysteine. And what is this particular 22nd amino acid? Friends, the 22nd amino acid is the pyrrolysine. This is also formed by the modification of a particular lysine amino acid, which is one of the 20 amino acids. So some people will think that the 21st and 22nd amino acids are not at all involved in the protein chain. They do involved in the protein chain, no doubt in that. Right? They compulsory involved in the protein chain. Do not forget that, friends. Okay, now let's try to understand briefly and elaboratively about the classification of amino acids. So friends, let's try to understand the first and most important classification, that is the non-polar and aliphatic R groups. Kindly do not forget that, friends. So the first one is glycine. Glycine is the amino acid. We know, right? What's this? What do you mean by the aliphatic? First of all, friends, aliphatic means straight chain amino acid. Correct now, friends? We called it as a straight chain amino acid. And here you can look into the glycine. Glycine is the most simple amino acid because just it contains hydrogen only. That is what the specialty glycine, right? Next, L9. What's the specialty of this particular L9? It's very easy to remember, friends. L9 just contain what group? It contain the methyl group, because friends, everything is common. Carbon, carboxyl group, amine group, hydrogen is common. We are calling glycine is the most simple amino acid among all because in its side chain it just contain hydrogen, and you can see, right, it is not at all chiral carbon, it's an achiral. That's why what happened, it never ever rotate the plane polarized light in any kind of the direction. This is the only amino acid among the 20 amino acids, my friends. Glycine is the only amino acid which is completely optically inactive. Please kindly do not forget that. Next one is what, friends? The amino acid L9. What is the specialty of this particular L9? It is just having methyl group as their side chain. That's all. Then the next one, friends, proline. What's the specialty of this particular proline? Proline is a kind of amino acid. Please try to understand. See, you will get a doubt. Sir, we called proline is also aliphatic, but it is the ring shaped structure. Friends, listen. Proline basically aliphatic side chain only, friends, but it can form a distinct cyclic structure. Why, friends? It is having a specialized group. What is that specialized group we called, my friends? We called it as a imino group. So proline originally has an aliphatic side chain with a distinct cyclic structure. It is having what group, my friends? Imino group. Always keep it in your mind. Do not forget. Next one, valine. What is the specialty of this particular valine, friends? It's a very simple. So valine also just having two methyl groups, right? And if you look into the methionine, you can easily remember methionine is a kind of amino acid which basically contain sulfur. And you can also look into this isoleucine. Basically isoleucine also having a hydrophobic interaction. So here you can say one CH2 and one CH3 group. Same, just to this you just add the CH. So one CH2, CH and two methyl groups. That is what, friends? This is the leucine, right? So this is what a simple classification of the non-polar as well as the aliphatic group. Okay, so friends, in the remaining classification and remaining details about the amino acid, we will discuss in the tomorrow class. Okay. That's all for now, friends. I hope the discussion is useful. If anyone didn't watch from the starting, kindly watch the recorded. Okay. Thank you all.